Back in 2021, you didn't have a lot of options if you were looking for a performance-focused EV. Ford came along and helped solve that by introducing the Mach-E and then eventually the Mach-E GT. For 2024, the vehicle has received a mild facelift with some pretty big changes underneath. Also, a new rally version, with a video coming soon, to kind of top out the performance range. Are these changes worth going out and buying a new Mach-E if you already have one? And should you consider a Mach-E or a Mach-E GT if you're in the market now in 2024 for a performance EV? Let's take this eruption green version out and find out. First blush behind the wheel of the updated Mach-E GT with the performance package. Can't tell a huge difference over the last Mach-E GT I drove with the performance package. What's cool about the 2024 model, though, is Ford now includes the MagneRide suspension as standard on GT, which is really the main reason to get the performance pack update, because if you are on roads that aren't particularly nice, magneto-rheological dampers are cool because they respond way faster than other adaptive dampers and can really smooth out rough pavement, railroad tracks, potholes, craters, you name it. It's good at handling that. And then the advantage is then you can make them extremely stiff for if you want to be able to corner flat in corners, which is a bit redundant to say, but whatever. This Mach-E GT has an all-new rear motor, which debuted actually on the Ford Lightning and is completely built in-house by Ford and is designed to deliver more performance. There's an entirely new basic electric motor package, which delivers 480 horsepower, and then in its full boost mode, up to 700 foot-pounds of torque. Now, if you watch our drag racing video we did with the original Mach-E GT with the performance pack, which if you click up here, you can watch right now, or in the description box, you can see that we were actually kind of disappointed with the Mach-E GT's quarter mile times. Its eighth mile times were great, but it really lost a lot of oomph in that last eighth of a mile. So one of our best runs of the day was something like a 12.3. Ford now claims that this car, with the new motor and battery package, will basically run an 11.5. I'm fat, so probably at 11.8. So about a half a second improvement. We don't have the ability to really test that on this drive program, but rest assured that when we get a chance to, we will attempt to verify Ford's claims that they basically fixed that problem. Otherwise, you know, we're in this bronze appearance package, which is this beautiful eruption green paint, bronze wheels, and a bronze front grille. There's some other updates, but really the biggest thing in the Mach-E GT is, of course, the standard seats across the line and the standard MagneRide. One interesting thing that Ford is really focusing on this vehicle that they're highlighting is this software updatability of the entire vehicle. So it's not just the infotainment, it's not just certain control hardware. They can update the entire vehicle basically overnight. So one thing that you can do is you can order this vehicle or you know, order it through your dealer or whatever, and get the performance pack as sort of standard. You can pay the extra upfront for that and get it as it's delivered. Or if you want to after the fact, because now all of the performance pack hardware is standard, if you want that extra boost and that extra tuning, you can actually pay for it after the fact and through a software update suddenly have that enabled. So that's one of the advantages of, like, again, including MagneRide across the entire board. What I would recommend that you do, though, is if you think you do want the performance pack, spend the money up front, because that will put it on the Monroney. And the same thing with any, like, if you're going and ordering a Tesla and you're like, well, I think I want the full self-driving updates, always check that box then, so it can be on the Monroney, so it can be something that's valued better in the used car market. It's unclear at this point how software updates will affect used car value. So if you think you want it, spend the money and do it. If you're really unsure, though, and you think later on, it is nice to be able to have that as an option. It's standard Mach-E fare in here. Does it feel a little bit quicker? Yeah. Does it feel significantly quicker? I'm not buying it. The thing is, the performance EV market has changed pretty dramatically in the past year. When the Mach-E first came out, it was one of the first sort of rear drive performance EVs in general. Yes, you could argue that any Tesla rear drive is still kind of a performance-y kind of car, and it is. But really, nobody was taking this idea of let's build a fun EV super seriously. And now there's several big competitors out there. So there's the new Model 3 Performance, which isn't technically a crossover, but we're expecting a Model Y Performance soonish. That would be a direct competitor to this. There is also the Kia EV6 GT, which I like, but I don't love. But I just spent a week or so ago, I had an opportunity to be at Laguna Seca, which, if you click again on the pop-out window, with a first drive experience in the Ioniq 5N. And I'll tell you what, that car has a lot of fizz. It's a lot of fun. It razzles and dazzles and does things that you wouldn't expect a kind of a crossover EV to do. And I don't know... Well, I can tell you that this car isn't there yet for that. The updates are nice. They're solid. The car is definitely quick. I'd like to see maybe a little bit more fizz, but Ford has been very aggressive on Mustang Mach-E pricing, and you can definitely get into one of these for far less money than you could on the equivalent Ioniq 5N. And you could argue this car does look better, especially in these sort of colors. Plus, unlike any other EV maker out there, Ford is going to offer this in a very interestingly spec'd rally version, which we will have a separate video for. None of the 24 changes to the Mach-E and the Mach-E GT are reasons to rush out and update if you already have a 21 or newer, but if you're in the market, there are some changes that you will appreciate, including a little bit lower of a cost and over-the-air software updatability for the entire vehicle. One of those software updates recently was to allow Ford products like this Mach-E and a Lightning behind the camera here to utilize Tesla's supercharger network. Ford engineers say that the changes under the hood represent a quantum leap forward in the way that the company pushes out software updates and thinks about overall vehicle production. That should be passed on to the consumer with lower prices. For 2024, the regular Mach-E starts at $41,890 with delivery, and if you spring for the GT model, it's $55,890. If you want the performance upgrade, it's $995 as a standalone option, but can be as low as $795 if you include it with the Bronze Appearance Package. The Bronze Appearance Package is $1,995. Compared to the Ioniq 5N that I referenced, the Mach-E GT is significantly less money, and it does open the door for the possibility of a higher performance Shelby variant in the future to compete with that car and other competitors. The EV landscape has changed quite a bit since this car first came out in 2021, and competitors from Korea offer high-performance variants that you may want to try. But if the Mach-E appeals to you, especially in this green color, which it appeals to me, you should definitely go give it a drive. It's a little bit more comfortable than something like an Ioniq 5N on the day-to-day driving, and the software updatability is pretty consistent, meaning every time you get into your Mach-E, it could be just a little bit better. To watch my first drive review of that Ioniq 5N, click the on-screen video link right now.